Welcome everyone. This is my video for doing the dual extrusion upgrade on the Creality CR10S. I already started this once before. My computer died. I lost the hard drive that contained the video, so I'm redoing the video. I partially disassembled. I didn't disassemble everything, but I did do a partial disassembly so that we could go through the main steps of doing the installation. So this is everything that comes in the kit. Got a couple of nozzles here. We have the two heat blocks for the dual extrusion. We also have, it comes with the kit that I bought, a block that takes a single heat element and goes from a dual input to a single output, so you could do mixing or whatever you want to do with a single. I'm not doing that. I am doing a true dual extrusion. It comes with 4 of the titanium heat break tubes, so I only need 2 of them, so those 2 go off to the side and we'll use these 2 here. This is the actual heat sink for the heat break, and then the 2 Bowden adapters that go on the top of the heat sink. It comes with a 12-volt fan, which we will not be using. We did remove the fan from the original CR10, the one that was on here. That's the fan you will be needing for doing this upgrade. I've already removed it. It is already soldered onto the wires that you see here. Here's the fan. Here's one of the heat blocks. Here's the second heat block. The 2 thermistors for it, and the part cooling fan. They're all attached. I've already run all the wires through. They're already run through. I ran them through the same cable that this is in. I'm actually going to run this cable later all the way through, and I'm going to have it come out through an opening that I'm going to put in here in the cable. So that's what's going to happen. This is coming out here. Then that will have to run into the box separately to the main board. Also in the kit comes 12-volt parts, which is what this is. But this, the 12-volt part, this is only this is a 40-watt one. I put the 12-volt ones in here. This one contains the long one also that goes for the dual to 1 extruder. I've already got all my parts installed, so those are extras. The kit also comes with a new board which does the dual extruder. My board is already upgraded to that because it's the CR10S. It has dual extrusion already in it. So this is just an extra board now for me to use for in case I have a problem later and it fails, which is highly likely when it comes to things that come from China. These are parts that I printed. I will put links to them on Thingiverse. This is basically the E3D, I don't know how you want to spell it, Chiron, CHIRON. Anyway, that's basically what this is. So these are the parts for that to do it. This is the part cooling fan holder. This is actually the part that which will contain our extruder and everything, and that's the part that gets mounted onto our CR10. So that covers everything that the kit contains. This kit was purchased from TH3D. So Timothy Hoagland, I believe, is the owner of TH3D. He has the kits available. You can just buy the whole kit. This will work for an Ender 3 as well. The mounting is exactly the same for an Ender 3, so you could do a dual extrusion Ender 3 if you wanted to, but you'd have to really upgrade the whole board inside the Ender 3 because it's not the same. See, beyond that, I think we're ready to get started. So I'm going to cut the video here and we'll go on to actually doing the rest of the install work to get it onto my CR10. And my CR10 is located right here next to me. Got my cup of coffee sitting here and my bottle of water, which I'll move out of the way. But here's my CR10 ready to go. Everything's stripped off it. That was done last time. I wasn't going to reassemble it and put it back together to show you. Plus the fact that it wasn't an original set up initially anyway. I was using the E3D V6 nozzle and heat rake and everything for this before. So this was not an original setup. This part here actually is the part for mounting an Easy Able. That's the bed leveling sensor that is also available from TH3D. And that pretty much covers everything at this point. So unfortunately my office is a little on the small side, so my camera, I can't get it farther away. I'd like to be able to so that I can just zoom in and zoom out as I need to without having to keep changing the way I have things set up. One of the things I forgot to mention was I am actually using extension cables on here, which is why there's a break in the stuff right here. Because I want my cables longer so I can have my CR10 control unit out of the way. So that's why, and my control unit's sitting over here on the side out of the way for the moment. Parts I don't need I'm going to throw off to the side here and get them out of my way for now. And I'll put them away in a spare parts box later. Oops, I need that. Need that part. Okay. So what people are saying is you don't screw in your nozzles all the way. So I'm just screwing them to where the thread ends, approximately. So, and then I'll put the, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw the titanium fittings in all the way. Like so. So that way they're all the way in. I'm going to do that, and that will stop. It should stop the tip from going in all the way because it's going to hit the titanium end. Now in theory, since these things are supposed to be the same, I should be able to put the other one and that'll keep the height exactly the same. That's the hopes. Without measuring everything, which I can measure it, which I probably should. I'd rather be sure that everything meets up the way I want it to meet up. And I'm tightening these. So that's a 7mm wrench that works great for doing that. So now I got both these attached to here. Then these will go into the two holes here and get mounted on here. The way you're going to do it is mount them so they come off to the side and out. And on the other side the same thing. Have them mount to the side and go out. Like so. So they're actually kind of reversed from each other. And then it'll come out this side and out. The thermistor will come out this side and out. The heat and the thermistor will come out this side and out. So it looks just like that. It has a little bit of step to it. That gives you some room for clearance. What I want to do is I want to verify the height between here and the bottom of the nozzle here. So I'm going to pull out my calipers. I'm using, the brand is Fowler, Fowler, is the brand of calipers I use. I used to have a really cheap set and they broke and they weren't very good to begin with, so this is Fowler right here. It's Fowler. So that's my brand of calipers I use. Turn it on, make sure it's zeroed, so I'm at 0.00. I'm going to measure this height here between the block and the bottom of the nozzle. And that came out to be, it looks like 3.37 on this one. And I will check the same thing on the other one. What I'm trying to do is make sure that when I go to zero this, I only got a 0.1. If I only got a 0.1, then, and I got 3.39. So I don't know if I measured it incorrectly. I'll try again on the other one just to be sure. And oops. Keep missing it. what's going on? So I got 3.39. I had 3.39 in the other one. So we're right on the money on both of those. So that's great. That's exactly what I wanted to have happen. And that's what I was hoping would happen. If the parts are machined correctly, you should end up with the same thing twice. And that's great. That's perfect. So when it comes to mounting these, you have to mount this part here first. This is the part that will have the fan on it when it's done. It's going to go right here. The fan will be in here. This will be mounted in this direction just like this. The other part that will have to go on before we finish is you got to put in the screw and put this in here, and that's for mounting my Easy Able so that I have my bed leveling. So that's what we're going to do next. So this part is going to go on the printer right here. And we'll go from there. And oh, by the way, on here there's a little lip that goes around. It actually fits around the plate that has the rollers where your x-axis travel. It actually fits around it. Pain in the butt sometimes. You get around there, then you put the two screws in to hold it in place. And let's see, my screws are here. So it should be here. And I'll find a proper wrench. And it's a pain, as you know, getting things in. And getting them to stay in while you're doing it. It wants to roll off this, wants to roll off of that. Anyway, that's the right size. That one's too big. Grab another one here. Find the right size here. Okay, got the right size. So I'm using my key handle because it actually doesn't have that ball end on it. That allows me to get in a little better. And I put that screw and get it started. And I'll take another one. I believe these are 10 millimeter long screws that I'm using. So they're not really long because they don't need to be for this. And I'll screw that in. Get everything lined up. And we'll tighten that down. And same on the other one. And now that's attached. Oops, but I made a mistake. So now you saw the mistake I just made. Oh no, I didn't. I forgot, there is a hole here for this to mount. So you put another screw in there. I think it has to be a little bit longer than the 10 millimeters, so I have like about a 15 millimeter screw here for it. And we'll put that in. I might want this to go the other way. No, that's the other way. Get that guy in. Get the screw started. So now I have my bed level sensor mount attached. So we're all set. This will actually get attached a little bit later. This is your cooling fan. Oops, it goes that way. Your cooling fan that goes on here. And your cooling fan will mount up here on top. But we'll do that after we get everything else mounted in here. So the next step is get these guys in, and that's to attach them into this block here. And as I said, you want the things to face outward. So like on this side, you're going to have it go outward this way. And then there are two grub screws on the side to screw it in. So I'm not sure how far I want to have them spaced away from the heat sink on the heat block. So I'm going to put them probably like a couple of millimeters. Probably what I'll do is use like 2 credit cards or something like that to give me the spacing I want. And just in case you ever wondered, I am a veteran. That's my VA ID card. And let's see how thick that is. Just want to give myself some spacing here. Turn that back on. 0. That's 1.57. Let's see if my Ambra card gives me enough space. Okay, so this gives me about just about 2.0405 millimeters. So I'm using a credit card, my VA ID, and my American Mining Rights Association ID as my spacer for spacing this. So what I'm going to do is I'll put that in between here like so, and then I'll tighten those grub screws down so that I can have it mounted at that height without having to deal with it moving. And that'll allow me to set the other one for the same height by using the same spacing system. And that'll keep everything spaced the same. This one's turned the opposite way, like I said on the other one. And I'll put this underneath, hold that down, and I'll tighten the grub screw here. One of the grub screws is missing. I have to go find me a grub screw down in the garage in my miscellaneous parts. So I've got both of these kind of mounted here. Turn that a little bit just to square it up. Okay, so I got both those mounted on here now. So we're all set as far as that goes. Then this is going to be, get the 2 Bowden feeds mounted on the top of it. And tighten that up a little bit. Do the other one. Tighten it up a little bit. We got that on now. So, let's see. This gets screwed in this, I believe in this direction here. Maybe I'm wrong. You're going to put it underneath, you're going to come up through, and you're going to come in like so. There are 3 screws that match, so this is the correct orientation, which is weird. It's backwards of what you would think it would be, but that's the way it mounts. So, put these guys back in, put this in again, and you have 3 screws that need to go in the top and mount that together. And I believe I'm using 10 millimeter screws again for this. So we will. Okay, it fell over. I can't get it. Use my T-handle to hold the screw. And start the screw in. Okay, that one's in. Get that out of the way. Hard to grab things sometimes you have big fingers. And screw that one in. Yes? That's my wife calling me. Sorry, I said yes. I should have ignored that and continued with what I was doing, not saying anything. She's telling me my breakfast is ready. So we screw this one in. And I have all 3 screws mounted. Tighten it up. Tighten it up. Tighten it up. Okay, so now we got everything mounted there. So at that point, I'm going to take a break.
Okay,
I'm
a little
going to prep myself. I haven't
one
eaten anything yet today.
Thank you.
And it's already
I should have
1
put
o'clock
all
in the
of
afternoon.
my heating elements and everything into here before I mounted it. So I'm going to take it back off so that we can mount those back in. And what I need to do is I need to figure out which one is which again, because I forgot. And that's actually pretty easy, because the ones that are in the, no, it ain't gonna be so easy. So I might have to use my meter to figure it out. You know which one's one, which one's two for my setup. So I'm not guessing when I have to do things later and go which one's one, which one's two again. So like when I want to use like hips materials and stuff like that, I want to know which one is extruder two, because that'll be my one that I'll put my hips material in. That way I can do the dissolvable support materials and things like that. So that's the main reason I'm doing this update, is I want to be able to do the dissolvable supports instead of having the rough texture that's left behind when you have supports on regular PLA or ABS or PET-G supports. So I want to avoid that. That's my goal with this. So I will give that a go here in a second. Grab my meter here. I can figure out which one's which. I only got to find one because the other one is pre-wired into the original wiring. So it's just figuring out which one is this is the second one. Unfortunately, I have this all taped up, and I need to take that all off because I can't see shit on that. I'll be pulling this tape off. That's what I use to feed it through, and I have to put new tape back on when I go to feed it through again later. Find the end of the tape here. I'm go to my magnifying lens over here that you can't see right now, so I can find where I'm at with it, and try and get this off so I can find out which one's which. Unfortunately, I wasn't smart enough. I was stupid. I should have marked them ahead of time. And I did originally when I did this the first time. I had marked it which one was which, but then now that I had to take it apart, it changed everything, and that made it more difficult. And I should have marked it again afterwards. I'll just use new tape when I go to do this later, which will be in part 2 of the video when I do all the electrical wiring. So now I use my meter as an ohm meter, obviously. And I'll go turn it on. Grab the lead. Well, maybe do it that way. What I'm trying to do is get to one of the wires here and see if one of these. Oh, I'm pretty good, huh? I grabbed the right one right off the bat. Okay, so this is number 2. This is the one I want to be my number 2 nozzle. So the way this mounts, it's going to mount this way. I'm going to make this side number 2, and I'll put my part in there like that, and then I will go to the other one. Now I got to figure out which one is the thermistor for it that goes with that for number 2. And that's going to be a little more difficult because the wires aren't available easily for me to get to. So that may be a little more difficult for me to figure out. Probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip off this tie wrap I put on the braiding here, and I'll tug on it and try and figure out which one's which from that. That's the only other way I know how to do this. So I got my crush heat at this point. Now let's see. So, like I said, I'll clip this tie wrap here that's holding this braiding otherwise it's holding all the wires too, so you can't really get in there and get it. And then I'll find out, let's see. This should be my thermistor here, for that one. So as I start pulling on this, it's this one. So that one there is the one that's number 2. I can pull it back. And that's going to be my number 2 thermistor. So that will go in here, in the hole, if I can get it in the hole, there we go. And I need the wires, basically the Teflon, to go underneath that screw to kind of basically retain it, is what I want to do. Otherwise, I had myself on that one. I'm shorting the heater block together if I'm not careful. Got to make sure my wires go the right way, because the routing will make a big difference on how this goes later. So it goes that way. It's going to go up. So that one is number 2. And this one, it was this one, I believe. This one, number 2 also. He goes in. So the wire here. So he's going to go in that hole. Like I said, now I want to get the wires underneath the screw. At least one of the wires underneath the screw. That's what actually is holding that thermistor in place. And you want to get them under there so that it keeps them in and retains them. Tighten that down. Okay, so it's holding my thermistor now. Now I got the heater on that side. Now I know that that's number 2. I did it on purpose because that's where my extruder is going to feed in from that side as well, so that way it fits just like this, and they both go in from, and the other one comes in from the other side. So everything that matches on the sides and everything. So that's my kind of keeping things organized. And now I'll put the other one in on this side. Do the same thing, put the heater block in, tighten the screw down. Now I got the second heater block in, and then you got the same thing with another thermistor that needs to go into this side. Bring it out a bit. Put the thermistor in the hole. Wrap the Teflon coated wires around the screw a bit. And then tighten the screw back down to hold it in place. And that's all set for side 2. Now obviously there's some things here that are going on. So we know that this is side 2 over here, which right now has longer wires. And I will put them through and get them out of, get them straightened back out so they aren't quite as long as they are now. I don't need them that long, and that will straighten that out a little bit. Okay, so now we got this all together here. Now we can put this back in as we were trying to do before. So we'll put this in. Let's see. I'm gonna have it come over the top of this, so it'll come like that, so it'll come like that. So this. Come like that, and my wires will be coming out the sides and over my unit like that. Get my thing lined up here. Why is it not line up? not going in. Screw that away here. What is stopping me from going in suddenly? I don't know what's going on here. Something stopped me from going in. I don't know what's stopping me. There ain't nothing here. And I just pulled the wire out on that one. Crap. I didn't have it tight enough on there. Put the thermistor back in again. I had obviously put heat sink compound in here so that I wouldn't have wanted it to conduct properly. It can get under there. Damn it. Okay, let's try this again now. Don't know why it's not going in. That's the problem I'm having at the moment. Why? It's stopping. Suddenly it's something that's stopping it, and I don't know what. Because I put it in here last time, it went right in without any fighting, nothing in the way, and suddenly this does not want to go. I don't get it. Why is it suddenly not wanting to go in? There's nothing there to stop it. I don't get it. What the heck? Why is it stopping? What is stopping it now? Does this make any sense? I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. It just suddenly doesn't want to fit. Does it make any sense at all why it doesn't want to fit all of a sudden? And you saw me put it right in there, it fit right in, no problem. And now, just got to test the wires on it, it doesn't want to go. Nothing in the way, and yet it doesn't want to go in. What is going on? Really? What? I don't get it. I'm not seeing anything on there that will stop it, and yet it just keeps stopping. Great. Hanging here on something, and I don't know what. There's nothing there, and all of a sudden it just wants to hit everything. What? What is it? God dang it. This isn't making any sense of why it's not going in now. Didn't have this problem ever. And now suddenly it's like, it gets right from there, it stops. Like it's hanging on, oh, I see what's going on. Piss on the stick. I see what's happening now. Really? Well, I gotta change my mounting of the second one because this is actually hitting the screw back here underneath on the roller wheel. And that's why it's stopping. So how am I going to do that? fix that. Oh, wait a minute. I'm screwing up. I'm putting it in the wrong way. There we go. Went right in. It was me. I was trying to put it in the wrong way. Okay, got it in there with all the wiring and the way I want. Didn't have to take anything apart. Yay. Of course, now it's gonna give me a bad time to do something different. Screw started here, and that one. Get the second screw and put it in. There's 3 screws that hold this in. Third screw. Let me tighten them all down. Okay, so now we've got all our wiring attached here. We got our heat blocks all in. Our wiring's all attached here. Our block is mounted in here. Now we just need to bring our fan over and plug our fan in here and hook him up so that he goes in nice and neat. Now, what I found, one of the problems I found with this mount here is that the holes aren't exactly perfectly in the right positions. So I could only get 3 of the 4 screws in, but it's not a big deal because it's just a fan. It's really not doing anything. So it's not going to hurt anything. It's a little bit off. Need a different size screw though than what I have there. I'm thinking probably like this guy here. Let's see. Can't remember. It's been a while. Nope, it's too short. So maybe a couple of those. If I have. Okay. That explains why I have those long ones. So put this one in. Start them in here. I get them started by hand. Get the ones I can get going in. Like there's going to be one hole that won't line up. So that's going to be the way it is. You know, I can't do anything about it not lining up. I'll try again, but I know that I had that problem last time. I couldn't get the last screw to line up. Like this one, I can't get to line up. Like that. So that's how many I can get in is 3. So put our 3 in. Like I said, this is the original fan that came with the CR10. So that's what you need to use that because this uses a 40mm fan, and the fan that comes in the kit is like a 25 or 30. I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's a 25 or a 30mm fan. So that's why you can't use that one. So that's where we're at. So we've got all that wired in now. Like I said, eventually I'll run this through and get it in here and run it all the way out to the end so it can go over into the control box. I am actually going to take all of these connectors that go on the control box and I'm going to rewire them because I am finding that these connectors fail on the extension cable. They don't connect properly with the extension cables they have. So I'm just going to solder them all together and not have them plug in anymore. They'll still plug in into the control box the way it did before, but all these connections here that go to the extension cables will be soldered. And when I solder, I always put shrink sleeve on. Somewhere I have some shrink sleeve laying around in here. Just had it here a little while ago. But I use shrink sleeving and my heat gun to shrink it down to make things look pretty and keep it safe, keep it from shorting out. So that almost completes all the mechanical stuff. The one thing you're not seeing in the video is I printed a mount for the Bondtech. The Bondtech here. I printed this mount. Mounted it. It's sideways and backwards, or sideways from this one over here. This is the original Bondtech mount for a CR10. It will work on an Ender 3, so you don't need to have two different ones. It's the same. This has the filament detect built into it. I was thinking about putting a filament detect on the other one. That would, I'd run it in series. So when it detects that the filament's out on either one, it will turn off and stop the print. But I'm not sure yet. I haven't really decided. So I've already mounted the Bondtech on here. When you do dual extruder, you need to have the same drive system running, or you will have problems. So put my bone tubes into my block there. We need to put our other fan on, the part cooling fan. We need to set that all up. So bring this guy over, and we'll put him, got the wire here in the way now, so bring it through like that, get it out of the way for the moment. And I'll bring this guy over. There's a couple of screw holes for it to go into. They're over here. We'll get that out of the way for the moment. Same over here, get that out of the way. With the screws in, I've already got nuts put in. Hopefully the nuts didn't all fall out. That this will screw into. And that will hold this in place. And that will cool the part when we're printing. And I don't remember what length these needed. Probably these guys. There's 3 of them. It looks like it would be the right number, right ones. This one's going to go in that hole there. And we got it started. There's 3 holes that it mounts in. 1 hole on this side, 2 holes on that side. And we'll screw it in a little more so it's out of the way and kind of holding things in place for us. Take the other one here, and it's going to go in this one over here somewhere. Get it to line up. And everything. Maybe. Maybe I shouldn't have tightened the other one up so much. A little more play with it to figure it out. And get it to line up with the hole here on the other side here. There. I got lined up with that one. And we're started. And the other one's below here, below this. That's why on this Easy Able they have a groove built in. That's so you can get the driver through and tighten that screw up. So that's why that's there like that. And we'll get this on here to get it started. Let's see if we get the whole line up. Push that over out of my way a bit. I'm getting it started though. Actually, looks like I need to change this. It's too short. I'm not getting in the hole, damn it. There we go. Got it in there. And I need to get the thread started. Get this thread started on this. Get our last one here going. This this end up working pretty good. I keep hitting the crossbar here. Okay, got that one in. That one in. Tighten this one up again. Get that all in. Then we have this fan here, and that mounts this way, like so. Screw here, screw here. Now I need a nut for that to go through, and I got my nut right there for it. And we get that guy on. Maybe. Sometimes just getting them started is a pain. Once you get them started, they go. There. Get that guy on. And then we have the same thing on the other side. Another one. Get the hole lined up. Put that in. Grab the nut. Put it on the other side. Tighten that up. And now we got all of our wiring and everything connected up to all this. I'm going to move this through here and get it on the side like that, so it looks neater when we put it all together. So my wiring's nice and neat through here. Let me take that off like this. This one's too short now. I can't reach all the way across. This one's too short, can't reach all the way across either. So both of them are just a little on the short side on my tubes. So I need to make them longer. And that's no problem. Making them longer is an easy thing when you have plenty of Capricorn tubing. And I have the Capricorn tubing cutter. Both of these were complements of Capricorn, for one, and Alien 3D, because I was the mothership winner the 1 month and I got the Capricorn tubing kit. The cutters everybody got, but the tubing, I got all the tubing that came. So that's lucky me. It's been very handy. I replaced all of my tubing on every printer with the Capricorn tubing. And I gotta get this guy off, but he's not wanting to come. The pain. Come on. Why is it not wanting to come off? No. Just not wanting to come up. Oh man. That ring is just holding so tight. I've never had it hold that tight. So I'm kind of screwed here with the length of these things because it's too short. Poop. I'm not sure why the camera just shut off on me, but it did. Okay, so I got my tubing all in here now, and now I have plenty of motion in both directions. So that takes care of all that. So we got all the mechanical stuff together here. Everything that's left to do is all wiring based now, or electrical work. I showed you where I mounted that. I'll put the links for all the printable parts underneath the video here. This will be part 1, and part 1 is just the mechanical assembly part. The electrical assembly stuff will be in part 2 of the video. And this of course went much faster than the first time around, where I had all the problems that you missed. So you got to miss those problems, because now I don't make the same mistakes twice. I make all new ones, but I don't make the same ones twice. So that takes care of part 1. Now I will take in this part 1 of the video, and we'll load it up and we'll go to find part 2 and go from there. Thank you for watching, thank you for tuning in, and we'll